Okay, let me turn this around. There we go. Shalom to my brothers and sisters who are in the body of the Messiah, for you are called the bride of Yahusha, who is the Messiah. Shalom, shalom to the scattered Hebrew Israelites, for you are called the bride of YAHUAH. For YAHUAH is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom. Let me get the lighting just right on this, because I want this video to be clear, straight to the point, and if some reason, if it don't go through well, I will redo this video, my brothers and sisters, because this is very important and it needs to come out. The title of the video is Why Israel Did Not See the New Moon for the 12th month, and Brother Howshua overlooked error. Forgive me, I had to pause for a second. Let me repeat the title again. Why Israel did not see the 12th new moon, and Brother Howshua overlooked error. I do apologize. I was trying to do another thing at the same time of saying the title. So, unfortunately, when you do live videos, you can't put all the title in, so I had to abbreviate a word. But when you come back to the video, the title will be updated, okay? So, and I'm sorry. So, for the past couple of days, around the world, we have been trying to look for the new moon. And Israel did not see it at all. No sighting. And when I talk about Israel, I'm talking about the converts who are Jewish, and the Hebrew tongue is, I think it's Yadah, Y-A-D-A-H, okay? They did not see the new moon. However, we do have an Israelite over there that has been watching the moon, but his day of the moon sighting is completely different from the world. Now, I have confirmation and proof of his overlooked error. Okay, we'll talk about that in this video as well. But let me see, can I brighten this up first? Hold on, let me put this down to the side. Okay, here we go. And let me clear out this stuff here, because I don't need this stuff anymore. Now, sorry about that. Now we can get back on track. The screen is nice and bright. And let me get my screen on my cell to be bright too, so that way I can be for sure you can see everything clearly, okay? First, we're going to talk about the 12th new moon report, and then we're going to the other part of Brother Howshua overlooked error. Now, when you click on the calendar link, it's in the video description box. Unfortunately, it's labeled as the 11th moon report, but I will change it to the 12th new moon report, okay? When you open that link up, you will see two links on Yahuwah's calendar for you to click on. And the first link is 2018 to 2019 of all the moon sightings that has been reported around the world, so you can have proof and evidence when the new moon was seen. The second link is dealing with YAHUWAH prophetic messages. Please listen to those messages and print them out and share them with your brothers and sisters. And I'm telling you, I'm an eyewitness of this. The printouts help so much. I've been sharing them with brothers and sisters that I have met who are awakened and who are not awakened. And it does help, because when you hear our Father speaking himself from heaven, it confirms what we knew. Okay? So please get that out. Now, when you go down further, let me see, can I bring this down further? There we go. When you go down further, it's all in the first box of the calendar is some very important information. It lets you know what season we are in. It lets you know if we have any feasts, like any harvest feast coming up. It also keeps record of the Shemitah and the Jubilee year. Also, for further study, we also have listed some very important scriptures that pertains to his calendar. Most importantly, it is listed as a reference, but the verse is not listed in the box. Please read Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, because YAHUAH calendar must consist of 3 lights, my brothers and sisters. The Most High corrected me. He let me know many of us are running with 1 light. When the words say that these lights in the firmament of the heavens shall be for what? For signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. So anybody who is sharing YAHUAH's calendar with you must have a record of those 3 lights. If they forsake any of those lights, the calendar is not complete. And you will see as we talk about it in the 12th new moon report. But for other readings that I want you to read in your spare time is Exodus chapter 34, verse 21. Now this one is in the Apocrypha, which is Ben Sirah, known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33, verse 7. Because when you read that verse, it lets you know that these days are important to the Father. For he has designated what? Holy days, and he has designated ordinary days. And it's very important that we have the correct Sabbath day. The correct Sabbath day must fall on the correct day of the sun and the correct day of the moon. This is why it is so important to depend on the heavens and not on the 4th beast calendar, known as the Roman calendar, also known as the Gregorian calendar. That is Satan's calendar. It would never give you the correct Sabbath year. For in the 1940s, and it started in Italy. Very interesting, right? That's where the wounded head is, Rome. Well, it started there. They realized they was about 10 days behind the sun circle. But when they made a correction, according to their weekly format, which is a continuous 7 days, according to that format, they did not start on the correct day of the week of their calendar. Instead of starting on Monday, my brothers and sisters, they started on a Friday. That is incorrect, according to their calendar format. TimeAndDate.com has the history and has the calendar of them making these changes, you can see. And when Rome established their empire throughout the world again, because their calendar was forced upon other countries, when it came to America, America was 13 days behind. Again, when America made that correction, they did the same format as Rome. So the Most High let me know, you cannot depend on a heathen's calendar to give you his holy days. You have to go back in his word. And his word does have witness. The King James 1611 Bible is confirmed by the work of Josephus, okay? Because it's many proof in that book. And I know one of the things that Brother Howshua may say is that if it appear on Saturn's day, well, what he does not know, it appears on the other days of the week of the heathen calendar. One of the evidence I will give unto you now so you can do research. The sheaf weight offering, known as the first fruits of the barley harvest, is always on the 16th. It is the day that follows after the Sabbath day. It is confirmed in Torah, okay? And it's also confirmed in the gospel. The evidence is there. And the third witness is his prophet. Prophet Ezekiel will confirm this as well. And that's why you see me have it listed as Ezekiel chapter 46. For in that verse it says, and I want to bring it over some. Let me see if it let me bring it over. Thank you, Father. It does. It says here, my brothers and sisters, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east shall be shut these 6 working days. So the gate that faces east, this is the place where we shall go and worship Yahuwah in his new eternal kingdom. Okay. So the gate that faces towards east shall be set, but shall be closed for 6 working days. Okay, let us keep going. But on the Sabbath it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon, bring this back. And in the day of the and in the day of the new moon, it shall be open. Now, here's the thing about us Israelites. Many of us are not good in grammar. We're not good in English. And even if we go back to the original language, a lot of times we don't pay attention to the context of the verse. But in the English format, notice it said, but on the Sabbath it shall be open. And look at that, you got a comma and an and. So and, let me know, and that's an addition. And in the day of the new moon. There's many verses that will confirm unto you that the day of the new moon and the day of the Sabbath is never on the same day. Okay? One of the chapters you can read is Numbers 28 and Numbers 29, and the work of Josephus will confirm this unto you. That the new moon offerings are different from the Sabbath offerings, and they're never given on the same day. Go back and study. One of the evidence you can look at is the first day in the 7th month. When you read the work of Josephus, you will find out there was no Sabbath offerings offered on that day. And when I talk about Sabbath offering, I'm talking about the 7th day of YAHUAH, the 7th day offerings. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a Holy Convocation Day offerings, but I'm talking about the 7th day offering of YAHUAH. It's completely different. Okay, so that's a verse to meditate on. So this is where I get the biblical format of how to set his calendar. He says that the east gate, let me bring this over, shall be open on the day of the new moon. So that's day 1. Then it shall be closed for 6 working days. And what you see here, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, the gate is closed. And then on day 8, we have the Shabbat, and on the Sabbath, day of rest. Okay? Now let's get into the nitty part of the new moon report. We are in the month known as Adar. You can find that word listed in Esther chapter 3, verse 7, as well as many other scriptures. This year, it fell in the pagan's month between February and March. Okay? And in this month, we will have the sun enter into the 12th sign of Mazzaroth. Now, the Father is reminding me before we begin, we need to close out the 11th month. So let us close that out. But before I go there, I need to mention this. For this month of the moon, I have it as the 12th month. For the ones who did not add a 13th month in the year of 2015 to 2016, the 12th month followers only, this would be their first month. And this is the proof that I have to show you, because it has came to pass, how they are not fallen heavens, and they believe what they do in their heart is right. But when you fall to heavens, you will learn that the heaven does produce a 13th moon, according to the formula that the prophet Enoch was giving. Okay, so a video will be coming out on that later on. And if they are true servant of the Most High, they would just repent and be honest and say, we thought in our heart that there was no such thing as a 13th moon, but they would say we have made an error and we repent, because that's the purpose of the new covenant, because we are in the fourth beast kingdom. They have taught us so many lies, but now his spirit is now revealing our truth at this appointed season. So let your brothers and sisters know who have been keeping only 12 months. Let them know. Just repent and make it right with the Father. Okay? So now let us call out the 11th month. In the 11th month, For the sun, we had a total of 30 days. So we are doing an ongoing count of the sun days. So we have a total of 335 days for up to the 11th month of the Most High calendar for the sun. Okay. Now in the heathens calendar, they already got 365 days, but it starts from their heathen months known as January to December. And we know they don't follow the heavens. For the first day of the Most High calendar starts on the day after the equinox, and the last day of the Most High calendar ends on the equinox day, and that pertains with the sun circuit, and that's what I'm talking about. Because we know the Gregorian calendar is based on the sun circuit, but it does not follow it. Okay. Now for the days of the moon, let me go down, bring this up. Now for the days of the moon, for the 11th month for the Most High calendar, I have 29 days. However, which we shall talk about, because when Israel sighted the moon, okay, they didn't sight the moon, but because they could not sight the moon after 30 days passed, they will automatically begin a new month. So for them, the Jewish, known as YAHUAH, YADAH, will have 30 days. Okay. Again, Yahuwah's calendar will have 29 days. Now, what I have highlighted in red is something you really need to pay attention. Notice that Brother Howshua will have 31 days for the moon in his month. Remember, he's not following the same month as we are. He's a month behind. So for him, in his 10th month of his calendar report, he has 31 days. That's the overlooked error that no one's catching, okay? Also, FYI, when you look at the 11th new moon report, I accidentally had for the night having 11 parts. Read my fingers at, not 11 parts, but I think I put down 13 parts, which should actually be 11 parts. And I ask you to forgive me, my brothers and sisters, for that error, okay? So take this time to pause your screen. Now we are going to the 12th month, because we got a lot of great things to talk about this month. We have some holy feasts coming up. Now, when you read about these feasts, know that you won't find it listed in Torah, but it will fall under Numbers 10, because this is a feast that my ancestors had kept as a memorial, because most people don't realize of the great things that Yahuwah has done for them. And to keep Purim is a great honor, because it reminds you how Yahuwah will defeat our enemies and how he will save us out of this world of darkness. And we'll talk a little more about that as we go in this video. Okay, now that we're back on track, let me go down so you can see this last part. So we are in the Hebrew month known as the 12th month. For the 12 months followers, that'll be their first month, and they are out of season because they are in winter still. And for Brother Howshua, he's in his 11th month. Okay. Now I did list some video links as evidence and proof. There's many overlooked errors in his calendar records. He does confirm we are supposed to follow the prophet Enoch and keep the 358 cycle. But when you look at his calendar records, it does not add up to 358. Because when you subtract 3 from 5, you get a 2 years difference. When you subtract 5 from 8, you get a 3 years difference. And shalom. So when you look at his calendar records, there's some mathematical errors. So this is why I did not follow him. That's one of the reasons why. The first reason was what the Father had me to meditate on. And these videos, part 1 and part 2 and part 3, will confirm that unto you. So when you click on the Google document link for this calendar, and it's free, my brothers and sisters. This is free for you to print out, to have, and to look over, to compare. But when you click on those video links, it'll give you the proof and the evidence of what I'm talking about. Now, none of us are perfect. And you probably wonder why I didn't go to him, but I have been to him in the past about other things with the calendar and what the moon has done. But he has been very rude to me and mean. So I just keep my distance from him. And I left him in the Father's hand. That's why I have not been to him about this. Okay? However, I would learn from my brother's mistake, because if I make a mistake on the calendar, let me know, my brothers and sisters, and I will take a look at it and check. Okay? Because none of us know the whole story. Okay? All of us have a part in this divine story that's taking place. Okay? Same thing with the knowledge that the Most High is revealing unto us. All of us have a part in this. None of us know everything. So let us work together in the body of the Messiah. All right. Now, this Hebrew month I just said earlier is known as Adar. It falls in the pagan month of February to March. And in this month, the sun shall enter the 12th sign of Mazzaroth. And Mazzaroth is Hebrew for the 12 signs that the Gentiles call the zodiac. Now, for this month, the Sabbath shall fall on Tuesday to Wednesday of the heathen's week. Remember, my brothers and sisters, the heavens tell us when the Sabbath is, not a man-made calendar that is fixed and that do not follow the heavens. Okay? Genesis 1:14 says it all, and there's many witnesses that will confirm it. Okay? Also, there's some scriptures for you to read that pertains to the 12th month, and you want to review about the new moon offerings. No, we cannot carry out these new moon offerings in the fourth beast kingdom. Okay? This is why the new covenant was created for you, my brothers and sisters, for those that receive it. For when you understand the mystery and you understand the purpose of the new covenant, you will learn that we keep Torah perfect through the Messiah. He who dwells in us allows us to keep Torah perfectly in the fourth beast kingdom. For when you learned about the fourth beast, they have set many snares and traps for us that prevent us from crossing every T and dotting every I. So when you understand the new covenant, and many get it confused with the eternal covenant that is to come to the house of Judah and the house of Israel, but it's not the eternal covenant. This new covenant is an abridgment between the old and what is yet to come. A mystery, well, it's not a mystery if you allow the Spirit to teach you. But when you read the word, you will learn that the eternal covenant does not start until the Messiah brings them back as one. The Father says, send him back to the earth. And when he come back, you know he's going to be a lion. And you know he's going to have a rod of iron. So he's going to enforce the reign upon the earth. That's why he's known as the King of Kings. And his Father is the ultimate king, because his Father is over him. So he shall establish his Father's kingdom upon the earth and rebuild the tabernacle of David. Read Amos. I believe it's chapter 9 or chapter 11. I think it's chapter 9. And also read Acts 15. For the 16:11 has those precepts for you to read. Okay. Let me scroll down. And it's also a link that you can read in the work of Josephus that also pertains to those scriptures as well. Sorry about that. This thing was moving a little bit too fast. Excuse me. Come on, device. There we go. So, guess what? The world in the West was able to see the new moon. Israel could not see it at all. All right? So that fell on February the 5th at sundown. Okay? So, you know the Most High Day begins at sundown and ends at sundown. So the first day of the new moon starts at February the 5th at sundown, ending on February the 6th at sundown. And the day of the sun is the 17th day, in its 11th month. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the second week of the moon so we can see what's going on with Israel. Okay, in the second week of the moon, let me move this light some so it won't be bright. Israel did not see it on day 2. Therefore, they automate day 2 as the first day of the 12th month. And it fell on February the 6th at sundown, ending on February the 7th at sundown. And the day of the sun is the 18th day of the sun in its 11th month. Now, looking at Brother Howshua, he claimed as day 3 of the moon as being the first day. Okay. And it fell on February the 7th at sundown, ending on February the 8th at sundown, which fell on the 19th day of the sun. Now, he has a picture, and we're going to talk about those pictures, okay, when we get to the end of the 12th new moon report. So just hold on for that, but I just want you to see that for right now. On day 3 of the moon, when you read the scriptures, you will learn that the temple was complete. This is dealing after the Babylonian captivity. You can read that in Ezra chapter 6 and in the Apocrypha 1st Esdras chapter 7. These two books are written by the same high priest known as Ezra. Esdras is just Greek. That's how they would spell his name in Greek. Okay. Take this time now to pause your screen to get that verse. All right. Now on day 7 of the moon will be about 50% illuminated. On the heathen's day, it falls on February the 12th at 12:26 a.m. Israel Standard Time. Okay, because this time is before sundown, it would fall on the Most High Day, where it falls on the Gregorian day, on February the 11th at sundown and ended on February the 12th at sundown. As far as on the day of the sun, it falls on the 23rd day of the sun in its 11th month. Now, the day of the first Sabbath in the 12th month will fall on day 8 of the moon. Far as the day of the sun that the Sabbath falls on, it falls on the 24th day of the sun in its 11th month. And on the heathen's day, your Sabbath will begin on February the 12th at sundown, ending on February the 13th at sundown. So since we're talking about the Shabbat right now, let me give you all the days, because remember I said in the beginning of the video, you must have the correct day for the Sabbath, and it must fall on the correct day of the sun and the correct day of the moon. The Sabbath will fall on day 15 of the moon and the first day of the sun's 12th month. Okay. On the Gregorian day, it would be February the 19th to February the 20th at sundown. That's the second Sabbath. The third Sabbath will fall on day 22 of the moon. Okay. On the day of the sun, it shall fall on. Sorry about that. Let me click on it. It takes a while. It will fall on day 8 of the sun in its 12th month. And on the heathen's day, it will start on February the 26th to February the 27th from sundown to sundown. Okay, that's the third Sabbath. And the fourth Sabbath shall fall on day 29 of the moon. On the day of the sun, it will fall on the 15th day of the sun in its 12th month. And on the heathen's day, it will start on March the 5th and end on March the 6th from sundown to sundown. Okay, now that you have that, let us continue in the second week of the moon. Okay. The person that just said they thought it was on Friday and Saturday, you probably came in a little bit later when this video started. The heavens dictate to you when the Sabbath begins. And when you learn about the Roman calendar known as the ancient Roman calendar, the Julian calendar, and now the Gregorian calendar, you will learn that when they made the correction in their calendar, there were so many days behind the sun. So when they made a correction based on their weekly format, they did not start on the correct day of the week. When you will learn, you can look at Italy, they started on a Friday and not on a Monday. In America later on took a hold onto what Italy did, but this was a couple years later. When they made the correction, okay, they was 13 days behind the sun's circuit. And when they made a correction, they followed the same format as Italy. Go to timeanddate.com. Also, I have videos on the channel that talks about the 7-day confirmed. There's a playlist for that. Also, check the video description box too for that link so you can get the full understanding on why the Sabbath does not fall on the heathen's calendar. And think about it. Will the heathen's calendar give you the Most High holy days? They don't follow none of these holy days. Okay? So it may seem a little weird, but I'm telling you, Torah will confirm what I'm saying. The prophets will confirm what I'm saying. And the New Guardsmen will confirm, as well as the work of Josephus, because there's several examples in the work of Josephus, because when you read about the high priest, when David set things up, there was at the time, I think only, let me see how many priests. It was enough priests to cover one Sabbath to the next Sabbath. So they would have to do from a total of 8 days. And when you read that insert of what Josephus talked about, you will learn there was just enough priests at that time to cover for the whole year. Okay, that's one of the other evidence. Now, when you read the work of Josephus, remember the Gentiles translated the work of Josephus, so you have to read everything because they give their own interpretation of what they thought Josephus was saying. So when you read everything and you allow the Spirit to teach you, there's evidence or clues that Josephus left for the Israelites to let us know that the Sabbath is determined by the heavens. Okay. And I know my brother Howshua is going to say, well, they mentioned Saturn being on a Sabbath day. But when you study the Most High calendar and how it rotates on the heathen's calendar, then you receive the understanding why it does fall on a Saturn day, as well as any other heathen days. Okay, remember their calendar is fixed; it does not follow the circuit of the heavens. I hope that give you some understanding, but you're going to have to seek the Father on this. And like I said, there's videos on the channels that give you the scriptures. Also, there's some scriptures listed in this calendar, okay, to give you the calendar formula. And the prophet Ezekiel confirms this. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. But, when someone wants to receive understanding, I need to make that time for them. Okay. All right, let's get back on track. Looking at the second week of the moon. Okay, the second week of the moon starts on day 9 of the moon and end on day 15 of the moon. So we look at day 10 of the moon. That's when the fast started for in the days of Esther. For those who are aware of the biblical event that happened in her day, I want you to read Esther chapter 4. You're welcome. And if you have any questions, you can always email me. Following the Messiah 378 at gmail.com. Okay. Now to get more insight about the first day of their fast, read Esther chapter 4. Now in this year of the Most High calendar, it fell on the 26th day of the sun in its 11th month. In the moon, it fell on day 10. Okay. Where it always gonna fall on day 10. You'll see why in the scriptures. Okay. And on the heathen's day, it started on February the 14th at sundown, ended on February the 15th at sundown. Okay. And that's another thing the Father want me to mention. Notice how his holy days and holy feast days always on the same day of his months. Hint, hint. So if his holy feast days and holy days on the same month, why not the Sabbath be on the same day 2 of the month? Something to think about. And if someone say, wait, it's not in the numbers of 7, well, here's the mystery on that. The Father, I told you, he had really worked with me. If you go down each row, it adds up to 7. For example, 7 plus 2 is 9. 7 plus 3 is 10, and etc. Okay, till you get to the end of the week when 8 plus 7 is 15. Do you see how this works? When you go from the new moon day and you add 7 to the new moon day, you get what? 8. So you can see the sanctified number displayed in his calendar. Okay. All right, now let's keep going. And day 15 is the second day of the fast in the days of Esther. This year it fell on the 27th day of the sun, but it remains the same in the day of the moon. And the day of the moon was the 11th day. Okay. And on the Gregorian calendar, it falls on February the 15th to February the 16th from sundown to sundown. Now let's look at day 12 of the moon. That's the third day of the fast in the days of Esther. And this is the day when Esther go to the king. Now, when you read that story, you will learn there was a law created. And you will learn that Esther put her life at stake for her people. This is an example to give us understanding how the Most High will make a way for you, how he will provide salvation for you. And you got to read the work of Josephus. Please read it and dealing with this biblical story, because you will see how the Most High will set up his and your enemies, Israelites, and to the Gentiles who cleave to the same covenant that we are cleaving to. You will see how he set up our enemies to the downfall. I'm telling you, our Father got a sense of humor. He is so intelligent, and he's always a step ahead of the wicked ones. So get a chance to read it. I don't want to spoil it for you because it's a great read. But on day 12 of the moon, this is the third day of the fast in the day of Esther. And you will learn that this is a day where she had a banquet to set up that dealing with the wine. Okay. And you can read about that event in the Bible. Okay. And that's in Esther chapter 5. Remember, the book of Esther is also listed in the Apocrypha as well as in the Old Testament, known as Tanakh. Now, this year it fell on the 28th day of the sun in its 11th month. And on the heathen's day, it fell on February the 16th to February the 17th from sundown to sundown. Now let's get to day 13. Day 13, you will learn that, when they received salvation, some of the Israelites kept this day as a day of gladness. And when we get to day 14, you will learn that some others kept it in day 14. But read that story and you can find out why. And shalom, my sister. Shalom to the person who was speaking to me. Your comment went away fast before I could see your name. But shalom. And for those who don't know what shalom means, it means peace unto you. Okay? Because that peace go deep. Do you know who that peace is? Think about it. Look at the letters in peace. In the Hebrew word shalom. SHALUM. Look it up in the Hebrew and you will see what that peace is. It goes deep. But let me keep going before I begin talking on something else. Okay, so on day 13 of the moon, we have a day of gladness. And that's the second day where Esther had a banquet that dealing with the wine. Also read 1 Maccabees chapter 7 of the 1611. 1 Maccabees chapter 7. And in the book of Esther in the Apocrypha, I think in the Apocrypha, read chapter 15 to get more insight on that day 13, known as the day of gladness. Okay. This year it falls on the 20th day of the sun, the 29th day of the sun in its 11th month. And on the heathen day, it fell on February the 17th to February the 18th from sundown to sundown. Now we're going to the day of Purim. And let me tell you something. It's amazing how the full moon fell on the day of Purim. Okay. But let me keep going. On the day of Purim, which is the 14th day, This is the day when my people was rejoicing because the Most High has saved them from being put to death. A nation of people was about to be put to death, and he saved them, so they had a day of celebration. Now, on this day of the 14th day of the moon, not only do we have the feast of Purim, but this is the day when the sun shall enter into the 12th sign of Mazzaroth. Now, the Gentile calls it Pisces. Now, it falls on the heathen's day, February the 19th at 1 a.m. Israel Standard Time. Okay, so because it falls on this day, this is why it will fall on the heathen's day from February the 18th at sundown to February the 19th. In addition to that, we have a full moon day, okay? And the full moon falls on February the 19th at 5:53 p.m. and it's known as a supermoon. Supermoon basically means it's going to be appearing bigger in sight. It's going to be closer to the earth. And what happens when the moon gets closer to the earth? It shall affect the waters, okay? So that's a great sight to see. And when I say full moon, the prophet Enoch give you the standards what make it a full moon, because it's going to rise in the east as the sun is setting in the west, and it will shine all night long until the rising of the sun. So when the sun rises in the morning, the sun will rise in the east and the moon will set in the west. And to be a full moon, it would be 100% luminous. It'd be very, very, very bright. So it takes some time to be able to recognize a full moon. So the best suggestion I can give to you, you have to go out there, my brothers and sisters, and look at the heavens and watch these things to understand what the prophets was talking about and to understand what the word is talking about. Okay. So that appeared on day 14. As far as the day of the sun, it appeared on the 30th day of the sun. Now, what happens when the sun enters the 12th sign of Mazzaroth? This is when you have, because we still in this season, night shall be longer than day, but it's slowly decreasing now. And I believe night would be, I'm doing this on the top of my head, 11 parts. No, night would be about, let me just scroll down. It's best for me to scroll down before I make an error. Sorry about that. Night would be 10 parts and daylight would be 8 parts. And what Enoch is talking about is night shall still be longer than daylight. Okay. For daylight should be around 11 hours and 20 minutes. And night should be around 12 hours and 40 minutes. Then it's not going to be as exact, my brothers and sisters, because of the earth no longer being aligned with the heavens. Even our Father Yahuwah talks about this in his prophetic message. For it's a sign unto you, Israelites, on who you are. For you are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But let us keep going. All right. So we got one more day dealing with the second week of the moon. So the second week of the moon is the 15th day, and that's the second day of Purim. And that falls on the first day of the sun's 12th month. When you read the prophet Enoch's writing, you will learn that when the sun entered the sign of Mazzaroth, that's the last day of that sun's month. The new day of the sun's month don't begin until the next day. All right. When you're looking at whole calendar days versus actual timing. All right. Now we're going to the third week of the moon. And in the third week of the moon, okay, as you can see, in day 21 of the moon shall be what? Decreasing in light, known as waning. Okay. And it falls on, let me plug my phone up because the battery is about to get low. And this video, there's a couple more things to talk about. There. Okay. So, the moon is decreasing in light about 50%. It falls on the heathen day, February 26th at 1:27 p.m. It falls on the sun's 7th day in its 12th month. And it falls on the heathen's day on February 25th, to February 26th from sundown to sundown. And that is the moon third week. And like I said, as far as the Sabbath, it falls on the 22nd day of the moon on the Sabbath. For the day of the sun, it falls on day 8. And notice if you go down each column again, they would add up. They would have a difference of 7. Like 22 plus 7 give you 29. Okay. On day 8 of the sun, if you add 7, we give you day 15. And you can see what I'm talking about right here. Okay. Now let's go to the 4th week of the moon. In the 4th week of the moon, we have the last waning crescent to begin on day 28 of the moon, and it falls on day 14 of the sun, 12th month. On the heathen's day, it shall be March the 4th to March the 5th from sundown to sundown. And then we get to the moon where it has no light, known as the dark moon. As the prophet Enoch says, that is the sun. That is not the sun. I'm sorry. As the prophet Enoch says, that is the last day of the moon, which she have no light upon her. Okay. It falls on March the 6th at 6:03 p.m. Israel Standard Time on that heathen day. Therefore, it falls on the 29th day of the moon, the 15th day of the sun's 12th month, and on the heathen's day, March the 5th to March the 6th at sundown. Okay. Now, let me scroll down because there were some scriptures because I want to talk about why Israel did not see the new moon. If you read YAHUAH prophetic messages, my brothers and sisters, that would give you a hint why they didn't see it. For they are not the true Israelites. They are not the children of Israel by blood. Remember, read the Song of Moses, Deuteronomy 32, but even yet read Deuteronomy 31 to Deuteronomy 32, and that would give you the identity of them, as well as Deuteronomy chapter 28 and Leviticus chapter 26. Then you begin to understand what Romans 10 was talking about, okay? Also, you will learn that their identity will be hidden. We are the hidden ones according to what's written in the word. Not only will you find that in Torah, but you will also find it, I think, in the book of Psalms and the book of Malachi as well. Okay? And now he's revealing unto the Israelites who they truly are. For we are scattered throughout the earth, and our identity, our nationality has been taken away. So I list some scriptures from Enoch to confirm unto you, when the moon does this, it is a sign unto you, Israelites, that those that's in his holy land are not his true people, who professing to be a Jew, but they're not a Jew by blood. Okay? That is a sign unto you. It is a sign also unto the world for those who has awakened to the truth, because we have been taught by the word that the majority of the world will not awake until Yahuwah reveal unto the world who he is first. And then once they realize who he is, who is the great I am, then he shall reveal to the rest of the world who the true Israelites are. Read Ezekiel chapter, I think it's 38 and chapter 39. Read those 2 chapters. So take this time now to pause the screen to read those verses from Enoch, okay? But I also put a note unto myself to remind me that this same thing happened in the 11th month last year of the Most High calendar, from the year of 2017 and 2018, where the moon did not show at her appointed time. And she did this in other months as well in the Most High calendar year for 2017 and 2018. And she has done this again in this year as well. And when you're keeping a record, you will learn that she also have done this in many other years. Now, the Jews had recognized this, but when I went to my brothers, and you know who you are, when I went to you, y'all just rejected me because I was a woman. So when I went to y'all just overlooked it and kept right on going. So I leave it as that. Okay. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Brother Howshua overlooked errors. He has 31 days. Now, I know some of y'all may be afraid to stand up to him. and tell him about his overlooked error, and not tell him about his overlooked error, because you are a follower. Okay. In other words, you rather follow man than follow Yahuwah and give the truth. So I have the proof and evidence, and this is not by my hand. This is by his hand. So right here, when you click on the Google document, we have the photos. We're going to click on that link. Oh, that's right. It's going to be in edit mode. So I'm going to have to take this out. Oh, no, it won't. It'll go to it. Okay. So while we wait for that to come up, and I want to show you the photo as proof and evidence. Okay. So here I have listed the new moon sightings, and what Renew Moon has said that basically Israel could not see the moon due to clouds. Okay. So that's why they had a hard time seeing it on February the 6th. Okay. You can check out their site and see it for yourself. But as far as other parts of the world, it was seen in Virginia, Florida, the Caribbean, New Mexico, and I hope I pronounced this correctly. I think it's Mauna Kea HI in the USA. Okay. Take this time now to pause your screen on that. Now we're going to scroll down. I want you to see the proof and evidence of Brother Howshua. Now for him, he is in his 11th month. And right here you can see the 30th day of the new moon of the 11th month was sighted on the evening of this February the 7th, 2019 at 5:29 p.m. by the watchmen of the Tabernacle Congregation of Prayer at the Real Zion. Now the problem with this, he know that's not the 30th day based on his sightings. No, I'm not. Let me correct myself. He probably didn't pay attention to this overlooked error. For this should not say the 30th day. It should say the 31st day. 31st day. Okay. And here's the proof. Let me scroll down. We're looking at January sightings now. Here we go. Brother Howshua's site, the January sightings, I'm going to read it, is this 29th day of the new moon of the 10th month was sighted on the evening of this January the 7th at 5:15 p.m. by the watchmen of the Tabernacle of Prayer at the real Mount Zion. When you count, I'm talking about on the Most High calendar, and we know he sighted his new moon in the same manner as we sight the new moon at sundown. So let me go back. Let me see. Let me go back right quick. So y'all just saw that he sighted in January the moon on January the 7th at sundown. When you count all of these days that I have here in the 11th month, we have a total of 29 days, right? That's what I have, 29 days, because I don't have anything listed. So when he sighted the next moon, we have to count these 2 days. He sighted the next moon on day 3. Okay. So I have 29 over here in this counter. So when I count those 2 days that he said that's not the new moon day, 29 plus day 1 that I say that heavens is saying is new moon day. So 29 plus 1 is 30. And on day 2, we made 31. 31 days. Now he's saying that day 3 of the moon is the first day of the month. And it's going to be very interesting what he gets for the next month. And what I found so shocking is that people will follow and be afraid to ask questions because you know how he can make you feel, or you know how he will cite you out in front of everybody. But that's not right. Because the Messiah gave us instruction. It said what? The truth shall set us free. So when we make errors, we should not condemn brothers and sisters who point it out. We should thank them for pointing it out so we can make the correction. Okay? That's what I'm saying. So it'll be very interesting what he does the next month. It'd be very surprising if he do make a video or he make a post or whatever, some type of announcement to explain why he got 31 days for his 10th month. Okay, remember he added his 13th month in the year 2017 to 2018 based on the sign of snow, but it's not based on the 358 cycle. On a continuous 358 cycle, when you look at his calendar records, when he started keeping it all the way down, you will see the overlooked errors. And that's all I want to say on that. I don't want to keep this video too long, but I hope this gives you understanding of the Most High calendar. And what I'm teaching unto you is that I don't want you to get dependent on me, but I'm giving you the tools and the knowledge for you to build on. So when you seek the Father yourself for the confirmation, for the understanding, you know how to do the calendar yourself. That was the purpose of the new covenant. It was to take away from out of the Levites and the kings, because they was leading his people astray from him. And in the new covenant, we are taught now by the Spirit. So you can tell when the Spirit is speaking through our brothers and sisters. You'll know, because you'll know him by what? Because you have been in his word. You have a relationship with him. You are his bride. You are married unto him. So you would know thou husband. You would know Ishai, your husband. You would know him when he speaks, because you are married unto him. You are committed unto him. See, the world say we're in a religion, but we're not in a religion. We're in a covenant. We're in a marriage. These are the things that people fail to realize, because they have not committed themselves unto him. They have not received a new covenant. And when you understand what that new covenant is, when you receive it, you shall receive the salvation and the righteousness of Yahuwah. You shall receive the salvation and the righteousness of God. And when you understand what that is, I don't want to give away that mystery, but it's on the channel, because I want you to seek the Father to understand what that truly is. Okay? Well, let me stop talking. I hope this 12th new moon report was a great help to you. And when you keep even more of these holy days, I hope that you begin to understand what these days are teaching us, because they represent what was, what is, and what yet to come. Not only they deal with the Messiah, but it also deals with some deep spiritual knowledge. Because you will learn that the carnal go in hand with the spiritual, just as the earth go in hand with the heaven. Then you will understand that relationship. It is very deep. All right, continue to preach the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10. And make sure they are baptized by the water and by the Spirit. For the Lamb set the example of both. He is the second Adam. And what the second Adam went through, we shall go through. For the servant is not above the master. Okay? And the apostle continued them both, the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism. These are the signs of the new covenant. These are, what's the word I'm looking for? When you participate in the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism, it is consummating the covenant. For those that understand what I'm saying something spiritual. It is consummating the covenant. Just as we have 3 witnesses in the heavens, we have 3 witnesses in the earth, and they go hand in hand. And when you understand that relationship, do you understand how it consummates the covenant, as well as being a witness of the marriage. Okay. Shalom, that means peace. As written in Matthew chapter 10, verse 12 to 13, I bid you a peace unto you. For when you understand who that peace is, then you understand Matthew chapter 28, verse 20. And the Hebrew letters are listed in Songs 119. In the book of Songs, chapter 119. Shalom.